Well, it has come to that point, ladies and gentlemen. It has come to that point. The 2025 hockey season, besides the Stanley Cup Finals, of course, which we'll continue to talk about, and the NHL draft, which will be coming soon, the majority of our hockey season talk has come to an end. Tonight is the quote-unquote last post-game show / regular episode of All Andy Alfred. I wanted to take at least 24 hours to digest what we witnessed yesterday afternoon in Trois-Rivières. And I wanted to talk about and write up what the season has meant for the Walleye. And we'll get into that tonight. But we have some positives. The Tigers taking 2 of 3 from the Cubs. Guardians getting the job done against the Astros. Denny Hamlin winning at Michigan today. A 4-hole playoff in the RBC Open to kick off the U.S. Open. And Jennifer Kupcho winning the ShopRite. And Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow night will take place. It's a warm afternoon. It's fine. I'm fine. So let's close the chapter. Let's finish the book. It's time for All Andy Alfred. And I love you guys. And welcome into this edition of All Andy Alfred tonight right here on the All Andy Alfred Podcast Network, whether it be on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Bleaker, however you're listening and watching us tonight, wherever and whenever you're watching us tonight. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast tonight, as you can always be a part of our show by following us on Twitter. It is at All Andy Alfred. It is at All Andy Alfred, as well as Facebook.com/All Andy Alfred, and tonight on YouTube.com through the All Andy Alfred YouTube channel. So welcome into the show tonight on this, the 8th day of June, 2025. It is so good to be with you guys tonight. And remember, always, you can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. And remember, if you listen to us on the platforms, remember to subscribe, as well as watch us on our YouTube channel. Subscribe. Lots to get into tonight. Of course, the back pages later on tonight. Also wanting to talk a little bit about our golf coverage, which is sponsored by our good friends over at Scramble Stick. Also, we will have the recap of the baseball for both the Tigers, the Guardians, the Reds, and the Hens. Also, we'll preview Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final, which will take place tomorrow night in Sunrise, Florida, as the series is tied at 1 game apiece. But again, you can always be a part of our show by following us on Twitter. It is at All Andy Alfred. As well as Facebook.com/All Andy Alfred. Remember, subscribe and go ahead, post comment on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andy Alfred, and I welcome you to the final post-game show of the 2025 Kelly Cup playoffs. As most of you are aware, that last night the Game 5 of the Kelly Cup Finals took place between the Toledo Walleye, the Western Conference champions, and the Trois-Rivières Lions, the Eastern Conference champions, in the Kelly Cup Final that took on Coliseum Videotron in Trois-Rivières. And yesterday's game was a hard game to watch, especially late in the game. And you kind of figured that Toledo went and they put all their chips in the middle. They tried their best in Game 4 to get the series to be tied at 2 games apiece. They couldn't get it done. So I kind of figured that they weren't going to give much of a fight in Game 5, but they proved me wrong. They absolutely proved me wrong. They came out and they just absolutely dominated the game. But the problem was, Trois-Rivières had all the breaks, had the hottest goaltender out of this whole playoff series. And there's not much to do because they got all the breaks. They got all the power play opportunities. The officiating was somewhat atrocious in this game. I will say that. The refereeing yesterday's game, was atrocious. With Rocco, and Tyler doing the refereeing in this game. I mean, it was pretty terrible. But in this game, we talked about it. We needed to jump out early and keep putting pucks on the goaltender. We did not need to take cheeky penalties. And third, we needed the veterans to step up. The veterans did not step up. We took a lot of cheeky penalties, but we did put the puck in front of the net and made opportunity after opportunity for this team. If you look at it so far, as we're going to recap Game 5 of the Kelly Cup Final, the penultimate game, unfortunately, for this playoff series for the Fish. It all started with the Fish, doing a very good job, putting the puck in the back, putting the puck on net, not putting it in the back of the net, but putting it on net. But Anthony Beauregard getting his 10th of the season on the power play, which was a penalty called there on Brandon Cruz for a slash, and at the 10:57 mark. And then at 11:29, Anthony Beauregard started the scoring off for this 10th of the season on the power play from Nicholas Gay, beating Jan Bednar, who is making his third straight start of the playoff series. He played on Friday. He played Tuesday. He played Thursday. He played Friday. No, he played Thursday. He played Friday. And he played last night. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Played those 3 games. So you figured that Bednar was going to be the guy to go. Because I even said it on the show that I think Gylander was going to start. And if Gylander was going to start, then we knew that, the series might be done. Because Gylander's track record is not good. But they go to Bednar, and Bednar did a fantastic job, stopping 5 of 6 in the first period. Toledo out shooting Three Rivers 16-6 in the first period. No scoring took place in the second. A lot of back and forth action. Pilon coming into the game in this game. Hillman and Pilon comes in the game. Bliss is out. Bliss was out in the game. So there's nothing they can do there. But Toledo put 22 shots on goal on Luke Cavian. And Luke was doing a fantastic job. Like I said, hot goaltender. He was stopping everything that was coming towards him. Toledo out shooting them 38-15. Almost double the shots. Get into the third, you figure that, remember, when I say this, the third period for a lot of this team is a 3-game period. It's separated in 7-minute increments. You got to win the first 7 minutes by scoring a goal. And what did he do? What did we do? We did. Matt Anderson getting his 7th of the season for Billy Moscow at the 5:17 mark of the third period, taking the tying it at 1. And I felt like at that moment, Toledo was building the momentum. They were building and building and building. However, just a few minutes later, Chris Jaranek gets his 4th of the campaign from Dutchman and Nyjoff at the 8:58 mark of the period. 2-1. Trois-Rivières. Toledo kept battling and battling and battling, putting the pucks on net, trying their best. Smerrick and Hawkins and all these guys putting the puck on net. And then Wyatt McClung getting his first of the season into the empty net as they pulled Jan Bednar. 3-1. And the final dagger at the 1946 mark, which puts it away. Alex Burcage getting his 10th of the season from Xavier Cormier and Vincent Savier. And for the first time in franchise history, the Trois Rivières Lions win the 2025 Kelly Cup. This team who a lot of people in the ECHL thought that this team was dead because of the organization in Newfoundland folding, and they were the team that was going to also fold. They decided to get new ownership. In the span of 2 years, goes from being near folding, the rags to riches champions. And they win the Kelly Cup final 4-1 by the final score of 4-1 yesterday evening. Toledo outshot Trois Rivières 49-25 in the game. Toledo 0 for 3 on the power play. Three Rivers 1 for 3 on the power play. Jan Bednar stopping 21 of 23, save percentage of a .950. Luke Cavian 48 of 49, save percentage of a .975. He was the MVP of the playoffs. You got to give it to him. Did a fantastic job. He was the 3 stars in the whole game. And Chad Fuller and Maxime Bernard were the linesmen in the game. And Trois Rivières, the Lions, win the Kelly Cup by the score of 4-1. And they take the series 4-1. You look at the final lines for yesterday. Spiza had 8 shots on goal. Hawkins had 5 shots on goal. Schmerich 5 shots on goal. The plus-minus for Schmerich was a -2 in the game. Matt Anderson -1. Billy Mosco -1. Hawkins a -3. Spiza -2. Bantolt -2. Nolan Moyle -1. Lewandowski -2. Dylan Pion was a +1. He was the only him and Colin Keenan were the +1s in the game. So 4,777 in attendance at Coliseo Videotron yesterday. 2 hours and 44 minutes took to play the game. So with that in mind, I will now close the book on the 2025 walleye season. 2024-2025 walleye season. This season was a fantastic year for the fish. Record numbers of course, the big turnouts at the Huntington Center were absolutely amazing. But the crowd matched what was on the ice. The amazing play of these guys, and what could have been for this team. What could have been, and the amount of time and effort and need for this team. The need to win this for the city of Toledo. The need to win this for the organization, for the fans. It hurts. It does hurt. But we have to pick ourselves up, brush ourselves off, and realize something. That this organization and this team is cursed. It is plain and simple. It is cursed. 3 opportunities at the Kelly Cup, and we fold. We fall apart. We don't get the job done. The amount of how well we do in the regular season. And I blame a little bit of this on the organization for the scheduling that they put together. Playing the same teams of Indianapolis and Bloomington and Fort Wayne and Wheeling and Cincinnati. I understand these are divisional opponents. But not having a Kansas City come in, not having a Trois Rivières, having an Orlando come in was very, very good. Not having a Florida come in or a South Carolina or a Utah or a tougher opponent. I blame that on the organization a little bit. True, the next season's schedule looks a little bit daunting with Trois Rivières coming to Toledo for the first time in regular season play instead of in the postseason. But I will say this. It's on the organization. I mean, we haven't seen Savannah come in. We won't see Greensboro come in. We won't see any of the new teams ever come into the Huntington Center unless they play into a postseason or a Kelly Cup final or a conference championship. If you build your team to get ready to play tougher opponents, and they proved it this year when they played tougher opponents, they fell. They fell and they hurt. So I blame a little bit on the organization, but I also blame a little bit of this on the fans. Now, I have said this for so many years. I will continue to say this. As long as we say hit somebody during the national anthem, this team will never win a championship. I keep saying this over and over again. The curse is real. If we keep saying it during the national anthem, we're going to not win championships. We need to be an organization that is clean. That is, yes, I know, and I'm going to get chastised for this. We are a blue-collar city. We're tough. We're built from the mud. I understand that. The walleye were in a muddy water. Our baseball team is named after a bunch of dirty hens. But we have to be better. We have to be better fans, and we have to be, if we're better fans, it's going to pay off for us. And by the way, this is a little bit on the back pages. We're doing the back pages early tonight. We need to stop doing this, hit somebody during the national anthem. It looks bad on us, and it looks bad on the league. And we need to stop saying you suck, chanting the name "you suck" and saying the S word and S word, because it's not necessary. It is not necessary. It is a bad chant. When I see 8 and 9-year-olds doing that chant, it hurts me. It hurts me as a fan that loves the game and watches the game constantly. And the fans need to learn a little bit more about the game than every play being a penalty or every play being, going against Toledo and saying that the refs suck. We need to be a better organization and treat us better. It would treat us better. So to that I say the curse lives on. The ghosts from the sports arena have muted across the river and now are haunting the Huntington Center. And it's caused because of the fans for saying hit somebody during the national anthem. The hit somebody curse continues. 3 years in a row, 3 years of not winning the Kelly Cup final. And now the question I have is this. How much of the veterans will stay? Because I think that Hawkins is on his last leg. Bliss is on his last leg. Keenan is on his last leg. Cruz is on his last leg. And then you also have to take into the consideration these younger players like the Andrews, the Ambrosios, all these younger guys who have now the opportunity to go over to Europe and play. And remember, this year we're getting Greensboro in the league. So an expansion draft is going to be coming. So who's going to be saved? Who's going to be in the organization? We'll have to find out within the next few weeks because they'll come out with the protected list soon. Who's for real? Who's staying? Who's retiring? And who's going to play in Europe? Because that's my big question. And after digesting the last 24 hours of this game, there's a few players that I like to keep, and there's a few players that I wouldn't mind seeing the door hit them on the way out. And I enjoy watching walleye hockey every year, but you have to play defense and offense. You can't be a cherry picker most of the time. And you know who I'm talking about. That is a big no-no to me in the league, especially how it is now. You have to play both offense and defense. So the question I have is this. What is this team going to look like next year for the 25-26 campaign? What will Pat Minkich and his team look like next year? His coaching staff, because there'll be some coaching moves. There will be. And what will this organization get back to what happened this year? Getting to the Cup final. We'll see. Time will tell. But congratulations to the Western Conference champion, 2025 Western Conference champion, Toledo Walleye. We can hang our hat on that. Get another banner put into the man cave tonight for that. But we never finished the job, and we died in the river of Three Rivers. You're watching and listening to a special edition, a post-game edition, and a regular edition of All Andy Alfred tonight right here on the All Andy Alfred Network, whether it be on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Bleaker, however you're listening to us, wherever and whenever you're listening to us. Thank you so much for tuning into the show tonight, as well as on youtube.com/allandyalfred. I want to also give, before I continue on, I want to give a special plug to my good friend Nick, the Money Man de Vera. He is celebrating his birthday. He celebrated his birthday the other day. Happy birthday, Nick. Love you, buddy. Celebrating 35 years around the planet. So my good broadcast partner. He's now 35 years of age. So that is good to hear. So, of course, the walleye season is now done. Now we focus into the 2025-2026 campaign in both the NHL and with the walleye, of course, as well as the Falcon football team. We're looking forward to that. But, of course, we're continuing the 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. Of course, Friday night, the huge game, game 2 of the Cup final, seeing Brad Marchand in double overtime, getting the game winner, beating the Edmonton Oilers by the count of 5-4 in double overtime. Marchand with the game winner. Doing the full recap, Bennett guarding the scoring off on the power play, his 13th of the playoff from Schmidt and Rodriguez. Then Evander Kane tying it up at 1 apiece at the 7:39 mark of the period. It was a crazy first period. Then Evan Bouchard getting his 7th of the campaign from McDavid, and Draisaitl even strength at the 9:19 mark, making it a 2-1 Edmonton lead. Before Seth Jones, the former Jacket from Osterinen and Schmidt tying the game at 2 apiece before Leon Draisaitl on the power play at the 12:37 mark of the period gets the goal, his 10th of the campaign from McDavid and Bouchard. It's 3-2 after 20 minutes of play. High-scoring game. And then Dmitry Kolikov getting his 2nd of the campaign for Verhaeghe and Jones, tying the game at 3 apiece. And then Brad Marchand, shorthanded, gets the goal, taking the Florida Panthers to the lead at the 12:09 mark of the second period. Before then, Corey Perry tying the game up in the third period at the 19:42 mark, right at the end of the game. Tying the game 4 apiece, and then Brad Marchand comes into the lane in double overtime, beating Lundell, his 9th of the camp, with the Lundell getting his assist. Marchand with his 7th of the season of the playoff run. It was 5-4 was the final. Florida ties the series at 1 game apiece. Edmonton out shooting Florida in the game 46-42. Now, game 3 will be tomorrow night in Sunrise. It will be an 8 o'clock drop on TNT, True TV, and on HBO Max. Series is tied at 1 game apiece. The news of the day, of course, though, is this. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a game-time decision for Game 3 tomorrow night. Spencer Carberry wins the Jack Adams Award in that realm. So that's huge for Spencer Carberry. But like I said, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, a game-time decision tomorrow for the game tomorrow. Of course, the NHL draft getting ready in full swing. We'll preview that coming forward here in a few days as yours truly is looking at the boards and seeing where the Jackets and the Red Wings are going to be picking their picks, as well as where is the kids from Saginaw and from Flint and from London and all the key pieces for the CHL, the Quebec Major Junior League, as well as the KHL, where these kids are going to be going, as well as the college kids as well too. We'll see if Bowling Green's going to get any draft picks picked up in the NHL. So we'll see what happens with that. Also, plugging note, also it'll be in the Calder Cup final. It's going on as we speak. Charlotte sweeping the series against Laval 4-0. Texas is battling the Canucks. The Canucks are up 3-2 on the Stars. So it'll be Charlotte versus either the Texas Stars or the Aberonsek, as it will be Game 7 of that. Actually, they're playing right now, and Texas is up 1-0 at the intermission right now. Game 7, if necessary, will be tomorrow night for that. So there's that for that. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. So, but the hockey season is still rolling on. The NHL Stanley Cup final as we continue on, as it's tied at 1 game apiece between the Florida Panthers and the Dallas Stars. As you are watching and listening to All Andy Alfred tonight, right here on the All Andy Alfred Podcast Network, whether it be on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Bleaker, however you're listening to us, wherever and whenever you're listening to us. Thank you so much for tuning into the show tonight as we are now hitting the diamond. Let's talk a little baseball. Of course, huge series this weekend for the Tigers as they welcomed in the North Siders of the Chicago Cubs. And Friday night's game was a gem of a ball game. Terry Skubal, a gem of a night for him as he pitched a gem of a ball game, getting the win, his 6th win of the season. He's now 6-2 this year, with a overall record 6-2. His ERA, a solid 2.16 ERA. He went 7 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 1 run. That run was earned with 6 strikeouts in the game. Vest came in for the save, his 10th save of the season. Brown, the loss. He's now 3-4 with a 5.37 ERA. He gave up 7 hits, 2 runs. Those 2 runs were earned. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He did give up a home run. That home run was a Spencer Torkelson. It was a Torkelson bomb, his 15th of the season, and it also was Jones getting the home run, coming in from Kerry Carpenter. He gave up the home run. But Torkelson was the home run he gave up. Brown gave up in the outing for him. So the Tigers had 3 runs on 8 hits, no errors. The Cubs 1 run on 9 hits, no errors in that game. Saturday saw the Cubs getting the better of the Tigers as they beat the Tigers 6-1. The Tigers struggled on the base path. They only had 1 run on a total of 6 hits, no errors. The Cubs 6 runs on 7 hits, no errors. Tallying the win, he goes to 6-3 with a solid 3.14 ERA. He had 3 hits, 1 run. That run was earned. 1 walk, 5 strikeouts in his outing. Holton, the loss, he goes to 2-3 with a 4.25 ERA. He only pitched an inning in the 3rd. Montero came in. He pitched 5 2/3. It was a bullpen game for the Tigers. 5 hits. Mateo came in 5 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs. All 4 were earned. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. He gave up 3 home runs in the game against the Cubs. The Cubs homers were from Bush, his 10th of the season. Suzuki had 2 in the game, his 16th and 17th of the season. Crow Armstrong, his 17th of the season, and Shaw with his 2nd of the campaign in the game. And like I said, the Cubs are winners 6-1. Today, Tigers got back onto the winning page, and they shut out the Cubs, taking 2 of 3 from the North Siders with a 4-0 victory today. The Tigers had 4 runs on 10 hits, no errors in the game. The Cubs, no runs on 4 hits, no errors. As Holton gets the loss, he goes to 3-1 with a 4.11 ERA. He had 7 runs, 7 hits, 4 runs. All 4 were earned. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts in his outing today. Jack Flaherty, a huge win for him. That boosts his confidence. He went 6 solid innings, with it giving up 2 hits, no runs, none earned, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. ERA now a 3.41 ERA in the game for the Tigers. No home runs hit in their outing. And like I said, the Cubs shut out today 4-0. Now the Tigers will go on the road now. They'll start up a set coming up starting on Tuesday, as they're now in Baltimore for a 3-game set against the Orioles Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, before they come back to Comerica Park for a huge 3-game set with the Cincinnati Reds. And speaking of the Reds are getting ready to take on the Guardians this week. And the Guardians, by the way, hosted the Houston Astros in a big series, and the Astros getting the better of the Guardians in Game 1 of the series on Friday by the score of 4-2. Houston had 4 runs on 10 hits, no errors. Cleveland, 2 runs on 9 hits, no errors. Gordon, the win, he goes to 1-1. Allen, the loss, he goes to 3-4. And Hader, the save, his 17th save of the season for the Astros in the game. It was, like I said, Gordon, the win. He pitched 5 innings, 7 runs, 1 run, was 7 hits, 1 run. That run was earned, 5 strikeouts, ERA of 5.11 ERA for the Guardian. And by the way, Rogers homering for the Astros, his second of the campaign. For the Guardians, it was Allen on the mound, 6 innings strong, 7 hits, 4 runs. All 4 were earned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. He gave up that home run. ERA now a 4.42 in the game. Astros 4 runs on 10 hits, no errors. The Guardians 2 runs on 9 hits, no errors in the game. Saturday saw the Guardians getting the better of the Astros getting the better of the Guardians 5-3 in extra innings, as it was the Guardians falling 5-3 to the Astros. The Astros had 5 runs on 6 hits, no errors. The Guardians 3 runs on 6 hits, no errors. Hader, the win, he goes to 2-0. Gaddis, the loss, he goes to 0-1. Sorosa gets the save, his first of the campaign. For Houston, it was Brown starting. He went 5 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. That run was earned, 5 walks, 9 strikeouts. ERA now a 1.62 ERA in the game. Diaz homering for the Astros, his 8th of the campaign. For the Guardians, it was Williams starting. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs. Those 3 runs were earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. He had 1 home run. He gave 1 home run. ERA at 3.46. Jose Ramirez homering, his 12th of the season. So the Guardians falling in that game. The concluding game on Sunday saw the Guardians getting the better of the Astros in the game by the score of 4-2. Guardians getting a huge win on that, probably salvaging a little bit of the series, with the Astros taking the series. The Guardians 4 runs on 9 hits, 2 no errors. Astros had 2 runs on 7 hits, 1 error in the game. It was Smith, the win, he goes to 2-2. Okra gets the loss. He goes to 1-2. Amaya Kase gets the save, his 14th of the season. For the Astros, it was Walter starting. He went 6 innings, giving up 6 hits, 2 runs. Those 2 runs were earned, no walks, 5 strikeouts, 1 home run he gave up, with an ERA now of a 1.64. For the Guardians, that home run he gave up was from Naylor, his 8th of the campaign. It was Tyler Beebe on the bump, 6 1/3, 5 hits, 2 runs. Those 2 runs were earned, no walks, 6 strikeouts, no home runs. ERA now at 3.81. The Guardians 4 runs, 9 hits, no errors. The Astros 2 runs, 7 hits, 1 error in the game. So now the Guardians will welcome in the battle for the Ohio Cup, which will start tomorrow, 6:40 at Progressive Field. The Reds and the Guardians. Reds coming off of a huge sweep this weekend over the Arizona Diamondbacks. And let me tell you about Friday night's game with the Cincinnati Reds. Let me tell you about this game really quickly. So I watched a little bit of this game Friday, as I dabbled a little bit between the Walleye game, Friday Night SmackDown, Stanley Cup Final, and I kept tabs on the Reds game, because the Reds game they started the game on Friday, and then it got delayed, and then it was suspended. Now, they planned for a fireworks display on Friday night. Well, the game was suspended, tied at 3, and they waited 2 hours, and then they suspended the game. They still shot the fireworks off at 10:40 at night. And by the way, in the pouring rain, the city of Cincinnati is fining the Cincinnati Reds for a noise complaint. They're fining them for a complaint. The league is not going to fine them, but the city is fining them because of a noise complaint. Because the game started at 6:40. They were scheduled to shoot those fireworks off around 9:30. They shot them off at 10:40, and it was a 30-minute show, a 20 to 30-minute show, and they missed the curfew for sound, and they're going to get fined by the city. So they continued the game on Saturday, and the Reds get the win 4-3 in extra frames on Friday. They then go into Saturday afternoon's game and absolutely shellacked the Diamondbacks 13-1 in that game. And then Sunday, they swept the series with the win today, 4-2 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. So now they get ready for this series. 3 games against the Guardians, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at Progressive Field. And then after that series, like I said, the Tigers will play a 3-game series with the Orioles, and then the Reds will come to Comerica Park for that series. The Guardians then will hit the road, and they will play out in Seattle starting on Friday night in that series. So there's that for you guys. Looking at the standings going into this week's play, it looks like this. In the American League Central right now, the Tigers holding the top spot at 43-24. Minnesota 35-37 games out of first place. The Guardians 34-37.5 games out of first place. The Royals are 34-32, 8.5 games out of first place. And the Chicago White Sox 22-44, 20.5 games out of first place. In the American League East is run by the Yankees, who are 39-24. It is the Tampa Bay Rays, who are 35-35 games out of first place. Toronto 35-35 games out of first place. Boston 31-35, 9.5 games out of first place. And the Baltimore Orioles, who are 26-38, 13.5 games out of first place. In the American League West, the Astros holding the top spot right now at 38-29. The Mariners, Fraser Crane's Mariners, are 33-31, 2.5 games out of first place. The Texas Rangers are 31-35, 5.5 games out of first place. The Angels are 30-34, 5.5 games out, and the Sacramento A's are 26-41, 11 games out of first place. In the senior circuit in the Central Division, it is the Cubs who are 40-25. The St. Louis Cardinals are 36-29, 4 games out of first place. Milwaukee 35-31, 5.5 games out of first place. Cincinnati is at 500 at 33-33, 7.5 games out of first place. And Pittsburgh, who is 26-40, 14.5 games out of first place. In the National League East, it is the Mets who are still holding the top spot at 42-24. The Phillies are 37-28, 4.5 games out of first place. The Phillies have lost 5 straight as of right now. The Nationals are 30-35, 11.5 games out of first place. Atlanta is really struggling this year. They're 27-37, 14 games out of first place. And the Miami Marlins are 24-39, 16.5 games out of first place. And in the West, the National League West, is the Dodgers at 39-27. The Padres are 37-27, 1 game out of first place. And the Giants are 38-28, 1 game out of first place as well. Arizona, with their sweep, they were swept by the Reds, are now 31-34, 7.5 games out. And the Colorado Rockies are 12-53, 26.5 games out of first place. They are still the worst team in Major League Baseball. So that is what's happening in Major League Baseball. Some news and notes from around Major League Baseball, of course, today. Skiing's another gem, and he doesn't get a win. Guardians have option. Big Christmas to AAA. That is a huge move there. The Twins have put Matthews on the IR with a shoulder strain right now, and so that's a huge blow in that realm. On that realm, so we'll see what happens in Major League Baseball. Of course, the Mud Hens were in action. They had a huge 6-game series with the Columbus Clippers. They now return back to Fifth Third Field this week for a 6-game set with the Omaha Storm Chasers. Lots of tickets available for that. Go down to Toledo Mudhens.com or head down to the Swamp Shop box office or call 419-725-HENS for ticket information. By the way, looking at it, they lose on Tuesday 6-1. They lose on Wednesday by the final count of 5-2. On Thursday in Columbus against the Columbus Clippers as they played at Huntington Park in downtown Columbus in the Arena District, which I gotta give credit to that. They played the Clippers. Let's see if I can get that really quickly for you guys. They play Omaha the next week. Hens and Hounds will be Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, it's Joe Torre's safe night. All games 7:05, excluding for the Sunday game, which will be a 2:05 first pitch. Sunday, this upcoming Sunday, is Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Thursday, the Mud Hens fell 3-2 to the Clippers. They win Friday night by the score of 8-3. Saturday sees the Mud Hens fall 2-1, and today they get a huge win in Columbus by this count of 11-9. So they'll play 6 games straight with the Omaha Storm Chasers starting Tuesday. Harry Potter weekend is this Friday and Saturday, and Prince and Princesses and Father's Day weekend is Sunday's promotion. And then they'll head to St. Paul for a 6-game set with the St. Paul Saints before they return back to Fifth Third Field for a huge 6-game series with the Charlotte Knights. Huge games for that right there because that is the White Sox affiliate. The first time the White Sox affiliate has been back to Fifth Third Field. And I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'll probably be catching a lot of games during that series. And I know my good friend and my cousin, Nick the Money Man DeVera, whose birthday was the other day. By the way, again, happy birthday, Nick. Will be down there watching the future of the Chicago White Sox. And like I said, all games this week, 7:05 first pitches, excluding for Sunday's game, the 15th, which will be a 2:05 first pitch. And then at the end, for the games against Charlotte, it'll be a 6:05 first pitch on Tuesday, the 24th. A noon first pitch on the 25th is a senior day. And then the 26th, 27th, and 28th, all 7:05 first pitches. And then Sunday's game will be a 4:05 first pitch as it's Peanuts night at Fifth Third Field. Then after that, they'll have a quick 3-game set with the Columbus Clippers, as they always do before the 4th of July. 7:05 first pitch on July 1st and 2nd, and then July 3rd, it will be 7:05 first pitch. It'll be Rocket Blast, and then they'll head to Columbus the 4th, 5th, and 6th of Columbus before they head to Omaha for a 6-game set, and then the All-Star break takes place. They'll return back to Fifth Third Field for a 3-game set with the Memphis Redbirds. So that is the Mud Hen schedule going forward, as you're watching and listening to another edition of All Andy Alfred tonight right here on the All Andy Alfred Podcast Network, whether it be on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Bleaker, however you're listening to us tonight, wherever and whenever you're listening to us. Thank you so much for tuning in, as well as watching us right here on YouTube as well on the All Andy Alfred YouTube channel. So, of course, I want to get into it really quickly. The Belmont Stakes took place this past weekend. It was a great weekend for the Belmont Stakes, as it was the match race that we thought it was going to be, as it was the race of it all. And Sovereignty again, the Derby winner, wins from the Kentucky Derby, wins the Belmont Stakes, as a fantastic run for him. It was a fantastic run for him. And, you know, It was a great race, an absolute great race. Sovereignty wins the Belmont Stakes, and you look at the final results of the Belmont Stakes. It was Sovereignty beating out Journalism, getting the blankets of flowers at Saratoga, and he deserved it. He absolutely deserved it. Sovereignty in first and Journalism in second place. And now we wait for the Breeders' Cup. We wait for the Breeders' Cup and see what happens with that. Also, got to give credit to this past weekend up at the Irish Hills at Michigan International Speedway, as it was the Firekeepers 400 at Michigan International Speedway, and Denny Hamlin wins the race. Chris Buescher finished in second. Ty Gibbs third. Bubba Wallace finishes fourth. Kyle Larson finishes in fifth. Ross Chastain sixth. Zane Smith seventh. A good finish for him. Top 10 finish. Kyle Busch finishes eighth. Ryan Pierce finishes ninth. Brad Keselowski 10th. Eric Jones 11th. Josh Berry 12th. Tyler Reddick 13th. Daniel Suarez finishes 14th. Chase Elliott finishes 15th. Christopher Bell 16th. AJ Allmendinger 17th. Shane Van Gisbergen finishes 18th. Austin Dillon 19th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finishes 20th. Joey Logano finishes 22nd. Justin Haley 21st. Chase Briscoe finishes 23rd. Ty Dillon 24th. And William Byron finishes 28th. He was leading that race. Pretty well. He led 98 laps of the 200 laps. Wow. So they now head to Mexico City for the first time ever. They'll go to Mexico City, and then they'll go to Pocono for the races, and then they'll be in Atlanta, and then the street races in downtown Chicago. So there's that for you. Also, got to give credit is due. It's now time for the golf segment of All Andy Alfred tonight, brought to you by our good friends at Scramble Stick. Remember, when you're playing in a scramble and you need to pick up the ball and pick up the pace, Scramble Stick is the stick for you. So a great run. I got home today and watched the end of the RBC Canadian Open, and I thought this was a great final. Fox did a fantastic job. Burying a 14-foot putt. Ryan Fox buries a 14-foot putt to tie Sam Burns to force the playoff. And they went 4 additional playoff holes. They went the first 2, parred each one of them. They changed the holes after the second playoff. They go and par that hole. And then in the final hole, Ryan Fox Burns laid up and missed it and rolled off the green, had to chip it. He finishes with a par. Ryan Fox two putts it, misses the first putt, makes the second one, and Ryan Fox is the RBC Canadian Open winner with an 18 under par. Sam Burns finishes 18 under par. Cameron Young finishes tied for fourth with McCarthy at 16 under par. Ludwig Ahlberg finishes tied for 13th at 13 under par. Shane Lowry, who was leading, had the sole lead at one point, tied for 13th, finishes 13 under par too. Taylor finishes 13 under par as well too. And Corey Connors 10 under par in the tournament as well. And Anderson 7 under par, tied for 47th in the round. Wyndham Clark finishes tied for 59th at 5 under par in the tournament for the RBC Open. And now, of course, like I mentioned before, the PGA Tour now will continue on. They will now head to the U.S. Open, which will be this weekend in Oakmont, Pennsylvania. This is going to be a good one, folks. Enjoy this tournament. I'm looking forward to Oakmont. This is going to be really a fun tournament to watch. All the coverage will start on Thursday on USA Network and Peacock. And then Friday they'll have Peacock coverage, and then USA will cover it and then it'll be on NBC for the majority of the coverage in the afternoon session. So it's going to be a great tournament. I'm really looking forward to it. The LPGA was in action this past weekend in New Jersey. Jennifer Kupcho wins the ShopLite LPGA Classic by Acer. She shoots 15 under par. Indeed, Lee finishes 14 under par. See, Kim finishes 12 under par. Ferru finishes 11 under par, and In finishes at He Lin finishes 10 under par, tied for fifth. Muros finishes 10 under par too. Brooke Matthews finishes 9 under par, tied for 11th. Sango finishes 10 under par, tied for fifth. Let's see here. Patty Tadavanikit finishes 8 under par, tied for 15th. Nelly Korda finishes tied for 15th at 8 under par too. Brooke Henderson finishes 7th under par, tied for 20th with Young and Garado, as well as Weber and Emily Skoll. Let's see here. Buchan finishes tied for 29th with Liu as well as Kang. Jinli 5 finishes tied for 29th at 5 under par as well too. Emma Talley finishes tied. Asterisk Talley, the amateur finishes tied for 30 at 4 under par 2. Georgia Hall 3 under par. Marafasi 3 under par 2. Daniel Kang finishes tied for 54th with LeBlanc at 2 under par, tied for 54th. Stacey Lewis ties 63rd at even par. Some of the players didn't make it. Lauren Conklin didn't make the tournament. Brittany Lindcomb did not make the tournament. Jody Andrews Standoff did not make the cut. Let's see here. Who else didn't make the cut? Paula Delacour misses the cut from this tournament. Elena Sharp. Kelly Tan. Cheyenne Knight misses the cut. Allison Corpus misses the cut. Eddie Askoff misses the cut as well too. Natalie Gulbis. Brittany Adameyer missed the cut. So yeah. Now the ladies will now head a few miles north from here. They'll go to Belmont, Michigan. Not Oakmont, but they'll go to Belmont, Michigan for the Meyer LPGA Classic for Simply Give. That'll be this upcoming Thursday through Sunday. Lydia Vu is the defending champion. Then they'll have the KMPG Women's PGA Championship and then the Dow Championship June 26th through the 29th. We're shooting to be at the Dow Championship either that Thursday the 26th or Friday the 27th. We're looking towards the 27th to be that day because it is cut day. We always love going on cut day when it was here in Toledo for the Dana Open. We're looking forward to that, but we will be up in the Frankenmuth in the Bay Area, the Great Lakes Crossing area, between the 26th and the 27th of June. So keep your calendars that and keep following us on our Facebook page as well as our Twitter accounts for more updated information on that realm. Also, as we speak right now, as it is now, Oklahoma City absolutely destroying Indiana right now, 104-82 right now in Game 2 of the NBA Finals. Indiana up 1-0 as Tyrese Halliburton had the game-winning shot yesterday in Game 1 of the series. 7:47 to go in the fourth quarter in that realm. Also, got to give credit to this as well, too. WWE's Money in the Bank was fantastic. I thought it was very, very well done. Seth Rollins winning the Money in the Bank for the men's side. Naomi winning the women's Money in the Bank. The surprise, of course, with what happened at the end of the John Cena, Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso match with R-Truth. Now Ron Killings coming into the play and attacking John Cena and helping and winning the match, helping Cody and Jey win the match. I was very, very shocked at that they listened to us in the WWE universe, and it's the truth. Again, they did not make any mention of it as of yet, but it is looking like the Miz is going to be released from WWE because him and TKO and WWE cannot come to an agreement. So it looks like the Miz is done out of WWE as well. So that is a shocker. And like I said, it's going to make me think about what product I'm going to be watching going forward. Also, Becky Lynch beating Lyra Valkyrie. She is now the new Intercontinental Champion. I'm looking forward to Raw tomorrow night. I will say this. See what happens with Seth Rollins, what he's going to do. Also, you have Gunther taking on Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. The return of Nikki Bella. But John Cena is going to be there too. So, those worlds collide. And Worlds Collide was very, very good as well too. So, there's that. So, WWE will be interesting. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to AEW as well too on Wednesday. Another 4-hour show with their Hollywood show that they're out in LA. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, I did my back pages tonight with the Walleye and the obituary for the Walleye. So again, I want to congratulate the Trois Riviera Lions, the 2025 Kelly Cup champions. So to my friend Chris, congratulations on your team winning the Kelly Cup final. And we look forward to seeing what's going to happen with this Walleye team going forward this season. Now, we will be back on the air. We'll be doing all our shows now here on YouTube the rest of the way. And I want to thank you all for watching us on our Facebook channels for our post-game shows. Every post-game show that we did during the playoff run. We will continue doing those next season. When the playoffs get going, as well as our Falcon Friday editions will be on our Facebook Live as well too, and we'll be doing a lot of the Falcon Friday shows at the stadium or pre-gaming it for the stadium because yours truly's got season tickets for the Falcon football team, so I'm looking forward to that. So there's that. Any other news and notes to pass along sports-wise tonight? Of course, Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers. That's going to be very, very interesting. That's going to be very, very interesting. So, we'll see. We'll see. And I look forward to seeing what this summer is going to be. Of course, like I mentioned, in a couple weeks, we'll be in mid-Michigan for the Dow Championship. Will be either Thursday or Friday, the 26th or 27th. Keep you posted on that. We will continue to do podcasts. Our next scheduled show will probably be Thursday. We might be doing this show at a special location on Thursday, but don't quote me on that. We will see how it's going to shake out on Thursday, but we will have another show next Thursday to recap Games 3 and Games 4 of the Stanley Cup Final, as well as taking a look at the Tigers' schedule as they head to Baltimore and then welcome in the Reds to Comerica Park. The Reds will be in Cleveland for a 3-game set starting tomorrow night. The Battle of the Ohio Cup begins tomorrow. Mud Hens return home to play the Omaha Storm Chasers, and more golf at the U.S. Open happening next week. So again, our golf coverage all summer long is presented by our good friends at Scramble Stick. Remember, when you need to pick up the pace and you're in your 4-man scramble, Scramble Stick is the stick for you. So until I talk to you guys this week, and again, thank you so much. Remember to subscribe to our shows wherever you listen to us, whether it be on Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Bleaker, Pocket Cast, however you listen to us, wherever you listen to us. Again, thank you so much for tuning into the show, as well as watching us here on YouTube as well. So until I talk to you guys on Thursday, this is Andy Alfred saying, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. A game of life. Keep your stick on the ice. And to the teams you root for at home, and to my teams, go Jackets! Go Walleye! Go Guardians! Go Reds! Go Tigers and go Hens! And go Falcons! And more birdies and less bogeys, because victory is sweetest when you have tasted defeat. Have a great night, everybody, and a great week. I'll talk to you guys Thursday night for another edition of All I Need the Alfred. Love you, babe. Talk to you guys then. Talk to you guys then.